fine.
what Chris said.
We're getting this S on the road.
Good. Let's do it.
Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of La Champ or Lucky Track Dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. We even think you Drifto Hella Flush peeps are, right? As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes in the world of low-dollar endurance racing, whether it's on the spot, hella sweet but terrible, or we're lucky enough. And Chrissy gives us just the tip. We're sure you're going to giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
I'm mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening to another MRIP episode of our podcast. It's 73. Yeah, I know I didn't write it, and I don't know what it is. And so I Googled it, and now I'm trying to figure out what the heck it is. So it could be the expert mechanism of the rights of indigenous people?
Thank you, because when I Googled it, that's what I came up with.
Yeah, that's what...
I thought Chrissy's kind of progressive, but she's not that, progressive.
I didn't write it. I don't know where it came from. Who wrote
Jeff?
No, not me. If I would have wrote it, I would have put, if this is another International Harvester edition of, because my first car, 73 International Scout.
All right, now I want to go to Chris because that's logical, but Rood's looking rather suspicious up there in his Kandahar basement. And he had access. He had access to the notes.
I don't think he usually affects that part of the notes. Okay, anyway, I don't know what MRIP is, but it's episode 73. If you're not driving your car, make sure you get your bingo card. We did find some listeners that were using the old bingo card that were sad because they didn't know where to find the new bingo card. So we helped them, but we can't help you. So you have to go to the show notes.
Well,
and you have what?
Apparently the link in the show notes may have been the old one. So
because the person who handles the show notes doesn't know how to update it.
Well, I thought someone else did. So
Yikes. From the top rope with that one.
Yeah.
I think that's actually an elbow to you, Mental, because it's whoever reproduced the show notes.
Yeah.
Well, either way,
I don't touch the show notes.
No, it's Chris.
Let's not discuss who does the show notes.
Get your new bingo card because they're fun. What you working on, Jeff?
Well, it was, as many people who listened last week, all 5 million of you or whoever listened, we had a work weekend last weekend, and we worked our tookies off, caging, stripping, and destroying the motor of a lovely 300ZX. Before that even began, we mentioned the lesbian Lori, my new truck, had a ton of stuff ordered for it. So before I could depart for the southern New York state, I had to install new tires, put on a
Linda,
brake controller,
did keep on top of the tires on this one.
Oh no, they were complete banana peels. So
I would totally rather buy almost any used car with bald tires, because tires are a personal choice and most people choose poorly. So I want to put the good tires on. So I'd rather get the car for a little less and make my own tire choice. That's all.
They had Goodyear Wrangler Trail TAs, which were decent tires, but balder than me.
Older than you.
Oh, wow.
I think that's on. Oh, that's on my bingo card.
Yeah. Good.
Jeff is bald.
Yes. So they had to be replaced, and the lovely and talented Jennifer was also nice enough to make several travels across the state to pick up the check from my credit union and deliver it to the dealership. And it was a very, very hectic day before I could even depart to southern New York. So there it is. And I even didn't finish it all, and I had to let Omar put on the license plate light for my trailer, and he totally installed it with the wires hanging out. So
he was so proud of himself.
He was.
Finished it
because it worked. It worked. It turned on.
No, it totally worked.
He was like, I just installed this.
Yeah, it was just
good job, Omar.
It wasn't as bad as Omar's Electric Beaver, but it was.
Yeah.
There it
Yeah.
is.
So we love Omar. He's
Absolutely.
He's the best.
He's the mascot.
Chris, why don't you tell us about the Z a little?
The Z, it's a 92 300ZX 2+0 NA slick top. So anyway, it's really tiny inside, and caging it sucks, basically, because the roof pillar hits your head stock, let alone when you're trying to put a containment seat and a cage in it. So it was our most challenging cage by far, and it took a long time to do. There was much frustration and good-natured yelling. And we have the main hoop done, the spreader plates all made, half of them welded in, the forward bars made, the header bar made, and the bar between the header bar and the main hoop made, which we've never had to do before because this car is so tiny. We need to get that little bit of extra headroom because we've got long torso Jim on our team, and he takes up all of the room in the cars. So, yeah, mental.
He's saying he's a long torso also.
Yeah, but you fit better. I don't know. Something about Jim's even longer torso.
You fit better.
Anyway, we also tore apart the whole front end of the motor and top end of the motor to try to fix a nasty noise that we had. I think it was a lifter noise. So we rebuilt all 24
it's always
lifters.
the lifters.
It sounded like this.
No metal.
Yeah,
it
more metal.
So much
it
metal.
sounded almost like a rod
metal
up higher. Yeah, metal.
And I feel like you can't say that you did that because you didn't do that.
I was about to say it was pretty much all Wartburger Aaron who did the motor work. Yeah, he just sat up there in his chair and just kept tearing at it and doing a good job. And Eric helped him a lot. Eric helped him all kinds of stuff. Alan helps. Bill, Garage Heroes Bill was there to observe. Bruce helped with a bunch of stuff. Greg mostly fixed the fridge in the RV, and Ohms poured drinks. So we're all in a role that suited our skill sets.
That's true.
I saw the interview with Wartburger Thief Aaron up when you guys were in Atlantic City, and it's one of those things where it's not a fault of his own. You routinely forget how really intelligent he is. I mean, that guy just understands motors.
He does.
He's been pulling wrenches for a living for quite a bit of his adult life.
Yeah.
He only recently ditched it to drive the big rigs, which, from growing up in the early 80s, I always saw the commercial, don't like your job, learn to drive the big rigs. Well, he did it. He literally walked into his boss and was like, take this job and shove it, and went to learn to drive the big rigs. So good for him.
Yeah. So anyway, now we're prepping for another fantastic work weekend with a special guest, and I've been ordering and confirming Honda parts ever since we got home, basically. Even ordered an engine today. They're pulling it out the junkyard so Mental can pick it up in South Carolina on his way up here this weekend. All right, all right, all right. Chrissy, what are you doing?
Ditto.
Okay. Cool. Mental, how about you?
So I was working with Extreme Experience at the Streets of Willow, not Big Willow, but we did get to see what I didn't realize until we got there was the oldest dedicated racing facility in the United States, established in 1953, the Willow Springs Race Facility. So we were on the streets, and I managed to keep my helmet chunk free. It was a good time. So I took my own lessons on hydrations right up until Sunday night, and then I stopped that. So, and I am planning a minor road trip this weekend. We'll talk about that later, but let's just get to the meat of the matter, folks. It is a very strong possibility. The only reason you even tuned into this program is because of our very special guest. Guest number one, Eric Rood. As always, we are very happy to have you. Broadcasting live from his kidnapped basement and honestly, I'm feeling like Kandahar's kind of played, let's just say in some suburb of Mexico City that even he doesn't know, even though El Chapo's been convicted. Our guest number one, Eric Rood, what you working on?
Hey, glad to be here, I think, for now. Right now I'm working on writing the long overdue rally recap from the retreat from Moscow. We'll get to that later on, and the race recap for Barber, which you guys probably covered last week. Also working on some HooptyCon details this week, and in my personal car life, considering what finally will replace my battered old Ford Focus. Still going strong, but
with what?
What are your? I mean, obviously the Oldsmobile Cutlass Cruiser is one.
It's that is a car that I probably will store because you want to keep that pretty nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking at Volvo wagons, something with a 5-speed.
Yeah.
A mental mobile.
Yeah.
Nerd wagon. Dude.
Damn right. So either a 940 wagon or a 740 with a 5-speed. So
Cool.
That's the idea.
Like 240 because you're old.
Yeah.
You're old today. Did we say
I
happy
am.
birthday to Mental?
No, we didn't.
Happy birthday, Mental.
Happy birthday, Mental!
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Thanks for
Oh.
being here on your birthday.
No one wishes happy birthday better than us.
That's right.
Sure.
It is your birthday.
I'm going to counter that, but I'm going to wait for the opportune moment, and it's
All right.
it's coming.
All right, so can I
Okay.
get back to it? News and notes time. Somebody go. Who's got
So
one?
last week we covered the Champ 14 Hours of Road Atlanta. Real quick, going over that podium, because we've got a lot of racing to cover this weekend. Overall was Pinky's out in their 88 BMW 325. Boring. Second was Parts Badger in a 91 Miata, and third was the amusingly named Crowd Control Racing in a 95 Mustang Cobra. So well done with those. But Jeff, you're going to cover some of our picks for that race.
Yeah, totally. We talked about John Artman's Neon, and it finished a solid 24th overall with a second in B class. The Tuttle Motorsports Eclipses was fourth. Yes, count it, fourth overall,
Hey, how's
as
the
well
other one
as second
do?
in C.
How'd the other do?
I have no idea. Clearly,
Probably poorly.
it cranked, walked right out the front of the block because it was a DSM. I believe the other one was 50th, actually.
Thank
So
you.
I don't know how many people were there. Leviathan
50.
Motorsports, 225 with the 91 MR2 V6 long tail was 9th overall with 7th in C. Cone Crushers 944 was 69th.
Dude.
Excellent.
Nice.
Overall, unfortunately, they only completed 78 laps. Our new buddy Matt Connolly Motorsports, with the greatest name ever in motorsports, was just ahead in 68th with 9 laps.
Oh.
So I don't know what's going on there. Bill's pick, the Biohazard MR2, was 5th, and his other pick, not banned yet, had some unfortunate luck and was 52nd.
We are
So
terrible
somebody
at this.
was worse than the Eclipse.
Yes.
Yep.
So, all right. So let's talk about what's coming up. There's a lot of racing coming up this weekend. We're going to start with Champcar at Sonoma with a 777. Catch the live broadcast that is, and you can catch all these cars that are coming up. 24 cars. Wow. You're never on Sonoma. That's a long track. You're not going to be able, you're going to be
It's like a track day.
yeah, you're not going to see a car.
Like a
or,
private track day.
Yeah, really.
yeah.
Someone's losing money on that one. Sonoma ain't cheap.
A lot. There are 4 BMWs.
Boring.
Boring.
11 Miatas, no Hondas, no
What?
P cars.
What?
So who is in this race? There's not. I mean, it's mostly
Well,
Miatas.
there's only 24, so it's Miatas and BMWs.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Shoot. So
a Trans Am.
the 470 Bandits are an actual 79 Pontiac Trans Am.
Yeah,
And
be
what-
praised.
And one of our favorite teams, Dead Pedal Racing, is back with their longtime family-owned Maserati Bi-Turbo. Hopefully, we'll hear how they go.
There's a
Yes,
thread on the
Chris.
GRM board this week about that Maserati Bi-Turbo because someone said, "Holy crap, there's a Bi-Turbo racing champ," and everyone said that's impossible. And eventually, the guy who runs it came on and told a lot about the car. Apparently, it's an '87, so it's the only year they had fuel injected. They had to do some oil return port work in the heads to get the oil to actually flow back, and a couple other little things. And it said apparently it's been really quite reliable and fairly quick, except they crashed it and had to get another one. But aside from the crash, it's exceeded their expectations. Yeah, Mental.
So they've got a new website for Dead Pedal Racing, and you guys should all go check it out. And I talked to them on Facebook. One of the drivers for that is the co-host of the Team Clearcoat podcast out of Denver. So we had an extended conversation, and we're going to talk about how their week went next week. His uncle bought that car, and one of the brothers, there's like 4 of them, they're all related on that team, is a former IMSA engineer. So they know something about making delicate cars run for a while.
Yeah.
And
You
they've
can know
chosen
stuff,
to
but
use
you
their
can
powers for good.
do it. If you do it, is
Yeah.
the half the battle.
It,
Go ahead, Jeff.
it must be good because you wouldn't do all that to a car to get it to run, crash it, and then get another one, unless you really
True.
loved it.
Well, you had all those parts at that point, so you know.
We know all about
Redrilling oil galleries in the head. That's hardcore.
I like Eric's answer. It's Stockholm syndrome. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's it. Definitely.
Hey, Lucky Dog, Doggone Button Willow is also this weekend for their 12 and 24-hour enduro. We got the entry list from Kathy. 20 cars for the 12-hour, and as Kathy said, they're the pussies. Yes, I said that out loud. Those were her words. 34 cars for the full 24-hour race. Some teams entered both, apparently. 54 cars total. 12 Bayerische Motorenwerke, or boring.
Also boring.
Boring Motorenwerke cars. 11 Miatas, 2 Hondas, 4 Porsches, and 1 Anton with his Volvo 544. Good for him. Also from Kathy, pro drivers include Tanner Faust in a VW Jetta, because he likes to have flat-brimmed hats. Randy Pope's driving everyone's car, usually taking my seats. NASCAR driver Jesse...
Stole my seat!
Yep, Jesse Awuji, and Formula Drift Pro 1 driver Farouk Kujay in the Rude Boys Honda. She also mentioned our buddy Brett Sloman's coming out to drive with his brother Aaron. Apparently, Lucky Dog, he's known as Gravel Boy, because he buried a Miata to the axles in turn 11 at Laguna in the gravel.
I was
nice
there.
job.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Excellent. That's kind of hard to do, but hey, good for him.
You can do anything you set your mind to in racing. That's true. And for Brett bearing a car to the axles, that's a very Brett thing to do.
Well, let's be honest. The reason we race is to achieve the things that we thought were unachievable.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's so deep.
Wow.
So we're talking about racing, and we'll probably mention this next weekend. I got a little ahead of myself, but we've got the Arizona D-Bags race coming up in 2 weeks. But thanks to our special guest, we have the entry list. Thank you, Eric. The database is closed. If you're not on the list now, well, too damn bad. We've got 38 cars. 8 of them are BMWs, and they are still boring. Only 1 Miata, only 1 Honda, but 2 Porsches. But there is a 1961 Borg Isabella Coupe and a 1963 Studebaker Avante. Eric, could you take the good for this one?
All right, so I'm going to read the Borg Isabella entry from the standard catalog of imported cars.
Oh,
he is holding up to his camera right now.
Yes, and by the way, if you hear those dogs barking, that's probably a square on your bingo card, so check that one off.
It's just the one big one because she's upset she can't be in here under my wife's feet.
This was the final outing for the coupe in 1961. Sedan wagon formed from Bremen, Germany. Borg, said one ad, caters to your taste for luxury at a price within your means. In its report of the Isabella, Motor Trend called the coupe a plush personal car with an eye for economy, and in fact the magazine compared the coupe's design to that of the original Ford Thunderbird, noting its long deck, short cockpit with small quarter windows. Blah, blah, blah. It's a 1.5 liter with 68 horsepower.
Does that book really say
drum brakes?
Blah, blah, blah?
No, it doesn't.
No.
No. It also has swing axles in the rear, so it's going to be really fun.
Wow.
The handling is great.
Yeah, by 1950s standards, it's fantastic.
I have to say, I had no idea what this was. I just Googled it. That's a pretty sexy looking car.
They are great looking cars. Yeah.
It's kind of like a smaller, like Golden Hawk.
Yeah.
I was just thinking they copied a bunch of Mercedes styling cues from the era, but then just mixed them in a bowl and then put them there. Because it's,
Yeah.
Wow,
anyway,
the wagon looks like a Wartburg wagon.
Yeah, so the team running it is the same dudes who run the diesel swap Porsche 924, and a Mike Harrell. If you know who Mike Harrell is, he's helping run that car. Mike Harrell of Saab 96 fame and MG Mexico.
We've met him. Yeah. We raced the Spank, and we met him. And then, wait, those guys are the same ones that made the wooden carburetor adapter to stick the SU on that same Porsche, I think. So they're right out of their minds.
Yeah, they're special lemons people.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
So it's the perfect car for them, and it's one of those cars that you do 150 laps maybe, and that's kind of IOE because this thing I guarantee is going to be about the crustiest thing that's been pulled out and thrown on a racetrack in 5 or 6 years.
What do you know about that?
You guys know a thing or two about that. The Studebaker that's registered is Chuck Donnelly's team. They have that, and they have a WRX wagon, an Avanti, and a WRX. I don't understand it either.
It's because they share a lot of parts, so they
pretty similar.
bring fewer spares.
Yeah. And I usually don't know which one of their cars they're bringing. There's a C4 Corvette magazine, man.
Corvette, man.
Hell yeah. Swayze be with you.
Yes. There's a 98 Monte Carlo that's actually kind of quick, which is kind of befuddling, and a 91 Festivo with a Mazda 1.6 turbo swap that is amazing.
Weighs about 12 pounds.
Yeah, and I put this in the notes, but there's going to be a first-time winner at this race, which we're always pretty excited about. And the Super Troop guys have been really, really close a bunch of times, so we're hoping they can win with a four-door 1979 Mercury Zephyr, which would be one of the greatest cars ever to win a Lemons race.
Wow.
I loved the year that they brought that hella dangerous mustache ride seesaw to Sonoma. That was great.
Yeah.
It was so bad that Jay said, you have to disable this. And I have this out.
It's like immobile stunting and exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Which we'll talk about.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. Let me talk about the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We have 2 Porsches, both named Badly Chosen. Team 928, the West German Pushrodders. Risky Business 79 928 and 948 Marty Not Racing in an 88 944 because transaxles rule. But as Joel Goodson and Mental and Steph Schrader would say, Porsche, there is no substitute. Number 169, the 9-Finger Drifters, 84 Corolla hatchback wagon. The GDO man is once again going to try and break his differential in new and wonderful ways. Good job, everybody. 73, the Shake and Bake in the 1996 Mitsubishi Eclipse was part of my DSM fantasy, and I'll have to mention
And probably break after 10 laps. Okay, I have the funny. Wait, what? Racing in a 2001 Lara. That's fun. And Eric mentioned the 1962 Bog Ward with his team, a fist full of cotter pins. That's cute too.
I like that.
And on the for the bingo card, $500 Myaz. Is that the name of the team?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
They're rookies also. Which is
that's so much fun.
Well,
They've got it already.
Attitude. Yep.
Yes. 71 Datsun 240Z. Okay, so moving on. As speaking of funny, remember that time when we had a Lemons rule? We did not make it because of us.
Well,
we're only listening to the email that went
partially.
One third.
It's gone. In the email sent out this week, Nippon declared Stun and Exploding returns. Longtime Lemons fan. As longtime Lemons fans know, the nighttime paddock scene used to be filled with all kinds of fun stuff like semi-naked dirt bike wheelies, boats doing donuts, which totally wasn't us, and police officers who happened to be reasonably quick race car drivers doing ATV jumps into the pile of old mattresses, all of which we actually participated in, or sometimes we just saw it. Nick mentioned this rule is having a negative effect on the social aspect of what we do, so they're going to bring it back. We'll see how that goes.
Bring back the jet ski.
Most of those things basically happened at one race in particular that we all remember.
Well, 2 of them are from one race, and the other one is from the other race.
Yeah.
Other coast.
Okay, so
I would like to mention, before we go on, hold on, I'm sorry, that people ask me all the time, what was it like at Summit Point when Lemons used to race there? And I always start the conversation with, have you seen the movie Caligula?
I have not, so I can't say.
That's why you're not laughing.
It's hilarious. All right, so we're still banned with fireworks, fireballs, all of that good stuff. Not surprised. Good thing. Speeding, reckless driving, burnouts, wheels leaving the ground, also a good thing. Drinking and driving, also. And Speedos worn by people who shouldn't, which got so many comments on Facebook. People called each other out
entire discussion
over the place.
Yeah.
They were like, well, now I need to go get one. And yes, that was the funnier part, actually.
Sorry for party, we'll persevere. And in keeping with our birthday weekly celebrations, the Miata turned 30 last week. Amazing. Originally released at the 1989 Chicago Auto Show, Top Gear had a lovely quote. So, as the world's gone crazy for turbocharged lifestyle crossovers, the MX-5 is held firm. It's still a relatively lightweight, naturally aspirated rear-drive sports car that's as interested in grip, power, and lap times. Mazda's releasing 3,000 MX-5 30th anniversary editions with different suspension and wheels, and finally a real color on a Miata on an ND. Until then, it's just been the same boring shades of something that you could get on on all the CUVs. Racing orange. It's a real color. If you want one, too bad. They're already sold out. Go look in a year.
Pretty much. So, Jeff, what you got? Because
I was going to say, a couple of years ago at the 25-year anniversary of Miata, I saw the first 3 imported into America Miatas. There was a red one, a white one, and a blue one, and they were all SCCA racers because they were given to people to race before they even debuted them, and they had all 3 of them. So good for Miata, for Mazda, for continuing to celebrate their car.
Excellent. My teammate, my former editor, and our good friend Jack Baruth released his first column over at Haggerty. His well-traveled column, Avoidable Contact, has moved to its new home there. The first one is titled To All the Cars I've Crashed Before, and to those of us here in this podcast that may have been to car or two, I'm pretty sure we can probably relate.
And now moving on to the obituary section of the show. This is the first, I believe, obituaries we'll be mentioning. John Haynes, the founder of Haynes Manuals, has passed away. Everyone just know how to bury a body. It's the reverse of unburying a body.
So saith
the Book of Haynes.
That's right. Also, Dr. Robert Hubbard, I did not know this, co-inventor of the life-saving head and neck safety device that revolutionized motorsports safety, also passed. So Hubbard was the code of the Hans device.
Cool.
Speed of Dale.
All these links will be in the show notes. So stay alive and fix your car.
Okay, moving on. I am going to save you the copy that we have read for 72 shows. Do you know someone who oodles over supercars? I'm sure you do. I think we all do. You know where we can drive them because you don't want to buy one because you can't buy one. So you know where to get to drive it. You already know the answer. It's Extreme Experience is where it's at. So go right now. Enter Extreme. Everyone Racer. Go to Extreme. Just Google Extreme Experience. I don't know what I took away
xxspeed.com.
Nobody's gonna remember that anyway.
How many times have you read this?
I don't know. I'm just reading what I wrote. So you need to put in Everyone Racers No Space. You get 25% off when you book. Oh, there it is. xxspeed.com. They make great gifts. So in case you didn't get something for your loved one for Valentine's Day, which is tomorrow, get a gift certificate tonight. Give it to them, and they'll be have fun. Bye.
Or you can just get him a wiener dog, like is sitting in Mental's lap right now. Hi, Cheech. Is that Cheech? I can't tell.
Bad idea.
Yeah. So check out other lucky dogs in the world. The Lucky Dog 2019 schedule, including their upcoming True 24 at Buttonwillow this weekend. Entry fees as low as $600. They're at Portland. They're at the Ridge, Willow, Utah, Oregon Raceway Park, Thunderhill. We're still trying to get into the Streets of Ensenada event in Mexico. So, yes, they're everywhere. More so, Lucky Dog is now full North America with the formation of Lucky Dog Canada. That's right. They're in Mexico. They're in America. They're in Canada. We'll have 3 races this year from Kathy, she said. And the best part is the new logo. Lucky's helmet has a maple leaf instead of a clover. It looks like a pot leaf. So check that out. Also, make plans to attend first annual Dog Stock Jamboree at Shasta Lake Resort and the 3rd annual Flocktoberfest in October. Head over to racelucky.com to take in their full calendar of events. Tell Kathy we sent you. You won't get a discount like you will at XX Speed, but we just like her and want to say hi. Look for her to be back on the show in April.
And really, we are just as surprised as you might be to find out that we think we have like several hundred listeners out there, and they're definitely engaged in the world of motorsports. So they have poor decision-making skills. So if you want to sucker them into buying something, whether your business, some way that might benefit them, our sponsor section's probably a decent place to do that, to showcase what you've got. So reach out to us at everyone.racers@gmail.com or send it carrier pigeon or flag mantle down as he drives up by 85 and 81 this weekend. So that's about it.
Now, we mentioned birthdays, and you know who always does birthdays just right? Chrissy's mom. Hi, Chrissy's mom.
I had a delightful Oreo cake.
Which Everybody
I had some too.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
I think Greg's
Mental,
son.
did you get any? No.
We'll see what happens this weekend.
Oh, it's true.
Yep. Okay, so listener feedback. Okay, so we posted a whole bunch of photos of our build from this weekend, and we had a bunch of, this is only some of the comments that were on the most, these are just from Facebook because I didn't go to Insta. Insta what? So we had a whole bunch of ideas of, I can say that as I'm talking. We had a bunch of ideas of getting tar up. So Eric M suggested dry ice and a hammer, which makes the steady stuff literally jump off the floor. Cameron L said he agreed with the crushed dry ice with isopropyl alcohol. Mix it, make it a paste, and paint it on. Helps in tricky places. Dean H used brake clean or WD-40, sprays it on the edges, makes it that makes a mess. Young Chris E said that it depends on the age of the car and the brand of coating. So he said that, I'm sorry, stuff's going on. He said it came right off of his E36, but the 2008 Saab was a pain even after using all the above options. So my answer to all of these was that dry ice is great. I've used it a bunch of time on different cars, but you have to plan a little bit ahead before you get there, and we didn't do that, so we couldn't test it. Very fortunately, most of ours came up without too much stress.
Yeah, mostly it was just a chisel and a hammer, and someone who was just hitting it with a hammer was enough to break it off. So that was nice. Appreciated that. We also got lots of other props for the car and during the process. James McGuire and Eric M loved it. People want to learn how to cage, and it's a hard thing to do. And we told them find a team to watch, and we had 3 people doing just that. We had Bill, who we've had on here before from Garage Heroes, and Alan, his partner in crime there, and so they were trying to help us out, and Alan actually helped a lot on the motor. That was great. Bill helped a lot with theory, and he brought us various assorted chemicals and unlabeled containers for Sunday morning. That was nice too. Yep.
Chrissy was very very by the chemicals.
No, I was very sad.
Yes,
MEK.
exactly. Yep. Number 2. He said, don't want to get to number 4. Number 4 is bad. He didn't go as high as number 4. In comments, we also had James Morgan said he wanted to learn how to make a cage, and Michael K commented that they bought pre-bent kits because it's cheaper than cage components for them. Hey, we're lucky to have a really nice, inexpensive steel supplier near us, which really makes it a no-brainer for us to do that. And now Matt F. wants to steal the Porta Power because it fixes so many problems. Matt, I've got one right here. You're like 20 minutes away. If you want to borrow it, come on down. It just sits here most of the time, so you could cause some destruction with that thing.
I was going to say your Porta Power has gotten a lot less abuse during its life than Bruce's. Bruce's is like really janky at this point. Like it's kind of bent, so as you get like to maximum reach, it gets really obvious. It starts to look like a K. You know, like
wait,
clearly
doesn't
it's
apply to everything that I have compared to what Bruce has. I mean, Bruce uses his stuff. He uses it hard, and he's like that. And
Bruce is a working man.
I am not as much as Bruce, so my stuff sits in the garage a lot more instead of getting used. So, yeah.
Speaking of sitting in the garage, it's main topic time with our friend Eric Rood, who is sitting in a garage or basement. We can see how we make them. Behind him, the GM quality cat and all kinds of. I think there's Christmas lights in the rafters behind you.
There are Christmas lights in the rafters.
There's a fun new lemon sign, I think, over your shoulder there. I think I've seen that.
That's been there, actually. Yeah. That is the lemon Zen garden I got as a bribe.
Oh,
very nice.
Very nice.
And of course, artisan crafts are good bribes.
Yeah, the quality cat's over there on your right shoulder.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, because your listeners can totally, see.
No, they can't.
There's a whole bunch of bribe booze on the top shelf over here.
We're describing the scene.
Most of them half drank.
Yep.
If we were watching, if you all could see this, Eric is attempting to point at things in the background of his
very poorly.
feet,
Yeah,
but he can't figure out like the mirror image. So
it's true.
It's pointing very badly. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the mirror image of sanity, and that is the insanity. That is the Lemons Rally retreat from Moscow. When did it get back? Barbara was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it ended the Friday that Barbara started. I need to take a moment to appreciate you playing that mirror image as a wonderful transition. It's like you've done radio before.
True. but not
really. Yeah, so the retreat from Moscow, we made it to Barber on February 1st. Started January 29th in Moscow, as we always do. And it was awful. It was freaking cold. It was so cold.
Well, so it is a terrible time to be driving through Pennsylvania.
Which is entirely the point.
Yeah. That was polar vortex time, so it was like worse than worse.
And Buffalo, too.
And if it wasn't as bad for you as it was for the at least one car that was permanent convertible?
Yeah. So these guys from Canada, which, that explains a lot. They made a picture-perfect replica of the car from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes!
The Grand Detroit that was rented from Marathon Car Rentals. Like, they did the whole thing, to the letter, basically. So they took this 88 LeBaron Turbo and ran it with the top down and with the donut on the right rear for the entire rally.
And the steamer trunk on the back and everything. It was great.
And it looked like it had caught on fire also. It was great. Like they spray painted just a little bit of bed liner. It looked like, it had been charred. It was really, really well done. And they didn't freeze. So they got that going for them.
Did they get anything for their dedication of a theme?
We gave them the Random Acts of Stupidity trophy.
Nice.
Awesome.
Really
nice.
It's like the aspirational trophy in the Lemons Rally. So, that was really good. One of many really good things on the rally. It might have been the best rally we've had. There was just so much good stuff, and everybody, I think, really got into the spirit of it pretty well. Mental. What's up?
I love the photo of all of the B-body wagons. That has to represent like a double-digit percentage of existing B-body wagons in the United States that are legally registered.
People keep scraping them out of somewhere and bringing them on the rally. And I feel. Go ahead. I was going to say, I feel like it's, the E30 is to Lemons Racing as the B-body is to Lemons Rally.
Yes!
It's such a great road trip car. Yeah, no.
You can get parts at any Walmart, anywhere along your route.
Exactly. You can fix it with a hammer or a rock. You take a big rock and you just hit anything, and it works. It's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, so we had 5 B-body wagons, which is great.
Well, speaking of wagons, but one that's far more terrible, I heard the K car was there, like the K.
It was, all right.
Flashbacks. Trigger man of Trigger.
Yeah. This could be a whole episode. So
I think.
K-car,
hold on. Yeah, tell everybody what it is and give a
history. Not everyone knows.
A quick backstory. I mean, most of the people do, right. But let's talk about it a little bit.
As DC Doug is crying, he's crying right now on his way to work. Tears are rolling down his face.
I need to apologize to Doug in advance because he's going to be rolling in the fetal position for the next 10 minutes. All right, so the K car was a 1986 Plymouth Reliant wagon that was passed from team to team in 2013, and every team thought they knew how to make the car just amazing, and it ended up just being literally the absolute worst Lemons car of all time, categorically. It ended up with Chris Overzet, who sold it to somebody in California, and then one of the teams in Cincinnati wanted it. So it went back to them in late 2014. The guy who inherited the car tried fixing all of the stuff that was messed up with it.
Well, that's a mistake.
And ended up taking disability because it triggered his anxiety. Like he had panic attacks about this thing. So it sat in the back of his shop. I think it was in October. A team out of Cleveland wanted to revive it, so they went and grabbed it from Cincinnati. And then Anthony Bathgate is the guy who was like, yeah, I'll take it on the rally, no problem. So he bought an Aries parts car, took it. They took everything out of it and put it into the K car. So they took all the bad out of the K car, and they put alleged good into it.
Well, alleged original, because really that was the problem, is people kept changing things in the K car. They were like, oh, I know what's wrong. It's that Chrysler motor. Let's put in a Mitsubishi V6. And...
Yeah, it's a sensitive subject with some people, but,
it's a sensitive subject with hundreds of people. My friend Justin actually welded chain to reduce the suspension travel on it before it went to Texas.
Right. all of the wiring in the car was red wires. I don't know why. I don't know how.
Somebody's sick joke, and that's why.
See, I know who did it too, and I'm not going to call them out. But so anyway,
let's not forget in the history of the K car. Not only did it go to a lot of races that year, but it also traveled on the roads as a licensed car and nearly killed people by freezing to death in the Colorado Rockies.
Or heating them to death.
Boiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Montana. This thing was horrible.
It put 20,000 road miles on that year, I think. Anyway, so, you would think it would be great for the rally, right? Yeah. Well, it turns out it wasn't really done. It was delivered to the hotel at 3 a.m. the night before in classic K-car fashion. So Anthony got in the car. I honestly don't know how far he got, but the transmission started leaking, and then the power steering started leaking, and it was 2 degrees and just bucketing down snow. So he was like, you know what? Let's not.
I don't want to do this anymore. I quit.
So he went and got
This is the part in every Hellraiser when someone sees this box and go, you know what? I'm just going to throw this thing in the trash.
Yeah, exactly. But he went and fetched his tow vehicle, and it killed his tow vehicle also. Because why not?
That's the most K thing that could happen.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So the K car is still cursed, if you were wondering, and he finished the rally in his Subaru BRZ daily driver. So
this is worse than James Dean's Little Bastard. It's anything that comes near it is going to destroy itself, and it doesn't just satisfy killing 1 or 2 people. It's got to kill everybody.
Man, I tell you what, at some point we're going to have to tell the whole story of the K, on the Lemons YouTube channel, because it's really good.
Absolutely.
He needs to do a Phil's Project Car Hell series of the K. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, you cut to the live interviews, and all of a sudden just someone holds up their hand as they start crying and go, just give me a minute, just give me a minute.
I just want to here get to the part where Sasha says, "It broke down, so I got on my rollerblades and rollerbladed to nearest town.
I left rolling with car, and then I rollerblade to next exit.
And then they fix with ratchet strap and drive 1,000 miles."
Yep, that car had 2 advocates. It had exactly 2 advocates, and one of them was Sasha, and the other one was Steve McDaniel, and that's it. Nobody else liked that car at all. I don't know how it even kept going.
And Steve almost died in it. He was one of the ones that got frozen out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, that might have been his frozen brain is the one that started this whole idea of the Lemons Rally. It'd be funny is to make people do this all the time.
You just blew my mind, Mental. You just totally blew my mind.
I saw that thing throw up on Facebook, and it's suggested group for you to join. And I'm like, well, no. I saw that, and it died. I saw it die. It should be dead. No, it can't be alive. No.
It was the sequel. It was absolutely the sequel, the horror movie sequel.
Wow. So,
I got Anthony texted me a photo, and it was just him with the K car in the background and his middle finger in the foreground. And I was just yep, that's on the money right there.
That's a fitting end to the story right there. I think that's also answered my question of what was the worst challenge. It was the K car.
Trying to run the K car. Yeah, totally.
That's it. Wow. Well, how about the best challenge? What was actually good and fun and people enjoyed?
Yeah, we didn't do Tail of the Dragon this year, or Deal's Gap, and that was kind of disappointing to some people, but I wanted to try something different. So I took us to the Lane Motor Museum, which, if you're unfamiliar,
awesome.
That place is incredible. It's just the most esoteric, oddball collection of cars ever, and it's perfect for Lemons people to go to. They have they have North America's biggest collection of Tatras, which are the check-built cars.
4 of them? How many are there?
They have 9, which is incredible. Whoa. Yeah. They have a Trabant. They have a bunch of really rare French stuff. They have stuff that's 1 of 2 built by a dude in his shed in West Germany in 1960. It's really cool stuff. So we did a concours judging there with museum personnel, and that was great. That was really fun.
They also have the world's biggest car parked out back, which is
yes.
Mental.
Oh my God.
Closer.
Yeah, world's biggest car parked behind them.
Good story about that. The second we arrived there, we were in a minivan, staff was in a minivan, which is fine. Totally empty parking lot, and the Lark was there, which is the giant car, and the guy who was driving it was looking at the Lark. Two cars in the parking lot. Our car, our minivan, and the carpenter of the Lane Motor Museum's van. And because our driver was staring at the giant car, he backed into the one other car in the 50-car parking lot. Yeah, true story. Yeah. That thing's amazing, though. Yeah, everything there is just super cool. So, what else did we do? We went to the Red River Gorge in Kentucky also, which is absolutely phenomenal. So, at some point, you should go to the Red River Gorge.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
We've
driven through that area a lot.
Yeah.
And especially like Tail and Dragon. Tail and Dragon is actually not that great a road compared to all the other roads nearby that are really fantastic. So
yeah, no, that's 100% true. And the Red River Gorge it's like that. It's not, a steady downhill. It's kind of a lot of up and down, but it's also like 45 miles, which is 3 times as long as Tail of the Dragon. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We used to do this great off-road thing we called the Ass of the Antelope Vape Rally. That was like half a day before Deal's Gap, and it was tremendously better.
Yeah. I can't remember the road. I think it's 119 in West Virginia. It's just this total backcountry hill road, and it is. We drove it on the first rally, and it's absolutely the best road I've driven on the eastern half of the country.
Excellent. Yeah, there's some of the West Virginia roads are great, and then you get into these towns that you're completely frightened.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
We're not frightened because we're white people and I speak the language, but yeah, there's some times, yeah.
No, we're still frightened.
I don't know.
Around this part.
The deserted gas station that was Jim's Junk. Definitely anybody could have died near that.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty desolate. There wasn't many people around, but yeah, there's plenty of dilapidated things that could have had zombies in them or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, this is totally the beginning of The Hills Have Eyes 3 or some nonsense, yeah.
Been there.
Chrissy, I want you to ask your question because I have no idea what the heck you're talking about.
Tell me about Danica the rally cat.
What the hell is that?
There was a team that had a cat in their vehicle.
Danica the rally cat.
Live cat, not a stuffed dog or anything like that.
It was a real cat named Danica.
Taxidermy dog, by the way.
Taxidermy dog was different, yes. Danica lived in the Candy Van, which was an 82 Ford Econoline with no windows. Of course.
No windows? That's the best.
Not
even the small little peephole one?
Nope. The best part is that they bought it from the Lancaster School District. So it carted kids around in a windowless brown van.
Was it a cargo van or did it have seats in it?
I think it originally had seats in it. Maybe it was a utility van. I don't know. But it was the most stripper van I've ever seen in my entire life. It was an 82 with a 300 straight 6 and 3 on the tree and no radio.
Oh. That was fun.
Which is wild. Yeah, the dude driving it said it was a married couple who was in it, and they're super awesome. But like the shifter was just like, maybe, do we? No, let's try second. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That's a long time to be playing that game.
Yeah.
Okay. So the cat. Get back to the cat. I don't care about the car.
Right. So the whole deal with the candy van was that they literally had boxes full of candy in the back and a cat to lure other rally teams to come.
Was the cat on a leash?
No,
or
just on a bed in the back of the van.
It just lived in the van. It was just
you opened the slider, it didn't try and be like, see ya, I'm out of here.
No?
No.
No, it was a cat. These humans exist to simply take me from place to place. Be gone, bipeds.
Right.
Drive me to my next destination.
Many, many opportunities to think about how to kill everybody.
Well, it's a cat too. I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on the rally Instagram page today.
That's my question. I'm good.
I was following the rally Instagram during the rally and watching all the snow in Centralia and everything, and we mentioned Centralia. It here. We mentioned it here, but the most important thing that I have from watching was 2 freaking Yugos. How is that possible? Which one was worse? Or is it like a dead tie for like the terriblest terrible thing you could terribly do?
You know what? It's weird. They had ups and downs. So Mr. Regular from Regular Car Reviews was in one of them, and that was the base model GV with a 4-speed and a 1.1 liter engine. The top speed of it was about 59 miles per hour. Like they could get it up to like 65 downhill, but the engine sounded pretty alarming. So it was slow, but the heat worked in it. The other car was a GVX, which is like, the
good model.
With the body kit and the nice alloy wheels and two-tone paint. Yeah.
It had a cool interior, had the big block, the 1.3 liter, and had a 5-speed, which actually let it go much faster. Like you could almost go highway speeds in it, so it was faster.
Almost.
But the heater didn't work very well, and those cars leak like sieves. So basically, the 2 dudes were in there like all chattering, like,
and
shift it to fifth, I'm frozen, like,
I can't move my hands off the wheel. Help shift with me. So, which one is it that like on day one was like trying to get the transmission to work by adding oil? That was the regular cars guy, right?
Yeah. So the owner of the car is very particular about it, which is totally understandable. When you're about to take a car 1,800 miles, you probably want to put the right stuff in it. And there's some weird deal with how those oil the transaxle. They oil the CV shafts through the transaxle or something instead of greasing them. I don't know. But so you have to be
because better on Iron Curtain side.
It's easy to maintain with rock. It's not a problem.
In Soviet Russia, axle lube you. No.
Who would have thought that an iron block car designed on an Italian Econo box wouldn't work? It just seemed like a recipe for success.
Yeah, but they ended up driving to like I don't know how many parts stores looking for the right gear oil to use. Interestingly, that is something.
It has a hammer and a sickle on the bottle when you pour it in.
Yeah, it just comes in a black bottle labeled number 4.
We've seen that. We know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you know what that is. Yeah, but on the Route 66 rally, the dude's CV axles leaked, so there was just transmission fluid that like ran out the shafts and then just coated the side of the car with gear oil, which is just great.
And it's not a
great.
Thing
I'm sure
do.
It's fine.
No, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So I know the original intention for the rally ending at a race is to try and convince hapless teams to do the rally in their race car and then race.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I can tell, like 0 people have taken this opportunity this year.
This year, there were none. The first year we had 3. We had Vinny's Beetle with the Honda V6 in the back. There was
Spin Machine.
Yeah, Spin Machine. I can't remember the team's name, but they have an E36. It's a 318 Ti that's done up like the family truckster. It's really
Walk
quick.
of Shame.
Yeah, they did
with
the
Colin
first rally.
And, Duffy.
Is that Colin and Duffy?
Yeah.
I had no idea they did the rally and then the race.
Yeah, it was funny. I didn't get very many pictures of it because I didn't see them, but like they put all the race gear in the thing, and then they put like a plexiglass window over the back, so it's just stuffed with tires and stuff, which is great. And then go ahead.
I'd like to mention that that team may have been the team that was doing the burnout contest with the boat in the incident that shall not be named.
I am shocked.
That never happened.
I'm sure you had no idea until right now.
pretty sure Colin was behind the wheel, but don't quote me on that.
Behind the wheel of what? I don't know what happened.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. We all drive Yugos. And then the third car the first year was the Fairly Lame Fairlane, which is a great car. It's a 64 Fairlane. Mm-hmm. Their axle came out of the differential on the tail of the Dragon in the middle of a corner. So the wheel,
it came out like a lollipop?
Yeah. So we had 3 the first year. Vinny did it again last year, and then we had none. So I don't know what we need to do to incentivize that kind of crazy, but we should work on that.
Free race entry.
We do a free rally entry. So if you
race.
So if you do the race, you can run the rally for free. You can get $425.
How about guaranteed Class C if you survive the rally?
Yes.
Boy, I think. Well, we've had 4, and 3 of them have been in Class C, and the only one that wasn't was the E36. So, yeah, depending on what you bring.
No, it's not that.
No. Guaranteed Class C if you do that.
You want to go beat up Class C in a Z32? Who are you guys?
We are leaving the heater in it.
Free pedal mafia, have you?
Yeah, all right. Yeah. We'll take the easy wins where we can. Yeah, I get it.
They'll have to do it alone because there's no room in the...
That's true.
No, we would need a trailer. We wouldn't be able to do. You can barely fit us in it.
We can. This is negotiable. Everything's negotiable. You know that.
All right. Mental, you got any questions?
So actually, and I was deliberately holding out because I didn't want to step on anybody. Says the guys that I fell in love with were the chicken tax evaders.
Oh my God!
Best game ever.
Yeah.
They did the entire rally in those chicken suits.
Did you see Go ahead.
Well, they did a great job of putting that up on Instagram, and I was genuinely worried on the way home, and they almost died in a tunnel because they threw a rod, and then they just drove it home with the rod knock anyway. But were there any instances where, because as you mentioned, there's some desolate towns in West Virginia, and they show up in a Subaru, and they hop out of that thing wearing chicken suits, squeaking their little chicken toy, and some folks go, boy, you best just get right back in that little pickup of yours and scoot on out of here.
Well, the good news is that they're from North Carolina, so they have the accent. So nobody messes with them. So they're just scary to everybody in Ohio, which is good.
We should mention that they are the chicken tax evaders, and their car was a Subaru Brat.
Yeah.
Which was
the original one.
The first car with a blatant modification to avoid the chicken tax for imported pickup trucks by putting 2 little plastic seats in the bed of the Subaru Brat and telling everyone, no, it's not a pickup. It's
a
4-seater.
Those guys were great, and they were the first people who showed up at registration, not because they were on top of it, but because they had driven directly from North Carolina at like 10 p.m. the night before. So they hadn't slept. So they just roll in. And somewhere close to the rally start, they'd sheared off a lug nut or a lug stud in the rear back. So they drive in, and we're kind of standing there talking. All we hear is clunk, 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 clunk as the wheels like wiggling back and forth, and we're like, oh yeah, this is gonna go great for these guys. It turns out, I don't know, they pulled it off, and they went to like every checkpoint pretty much, and I'm pretty sure they didn't sleep the entire time. So,
How many lugs on a Subaru Brat? 4?
That's a 4 lug, yeah.
4, yeah, good. Yeah. Good for them. 3 runs great.
Quick story about them. Exactly. I know we're up on time, but
we're fine.
It's 75%. That's a C grade. Yeah, it's passing.
Exactly. So along the way, like almost at the end, they stopped at a Chick-fil-A, as you do when you're dressed as a chicken. And
it seems like cannibalism, I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
But a little girl walked up to him and was like, why are you wearing chicken masks? And without missing a beat, the dude was like, why aren't you? Which is the way just answer that.
Poor little girl's going to be scarred.
I was like, what's she going to say? Be like, Mom,
the chickens scare me.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing that dumb human suit?
So good.
I would have said, What chicken mask?
Ooh,
Yeah.
Also,
But genuinely, go to Instagram and look at the Chicken Taxi Evaders Instagram. It is hilarity told in pictures.
yeah, those guys are great.
I was going to say, you didn't mention, I guess, podcast listener and wagon devotee, Long Root for Life, Donnie and his purple slab.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, no.
Florida Man Racing, I believe, is their team name.
Oh no, there were four. Yeah, there were four teams in that one car.
There were four people in a B-body Caprice sedan that they slabbed out with actual elbows, which is all right. This all sounds like a foreign language to everybody. In Houston, there are these things called slabs with the wire wheels where they just made the center caps stick out farther and farther and farther until they're like a foot outside the body. Just look up Houston slab. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Now, what does slab stand for?
Go to
loud and banging.
Yeah, go to Sanjeev's Facebook page. They're all over it.
Yeah. But so they made a genuine slab out of it, and then you have to you drive around at 8 miles an hour, weaving back and forth with all the doors open and the trunk open. And so they did this at all the checkpoints.
And the trunk is supposed to have something in it, right?
Along with the 8 other TVs that you have in your
Right. So there's said swanging on bath salts because the swanging is the driving back and forth real slow.
And bath salts because Florida.
Because Florida, right? And,
exactly.
And so Donnie was wearing sandals and jean shorts the entire time because Florida Man. And they were just doing Florida Man stuff and praise Dale. Yeah, exactly that.
What you do when you mention bath salts? Take your shirt off.
I'm sorry, what was I supposed to look up? What slab?
Houston slab.
Houston slab, thank you.
You have to capitalize SLAB, all caps.
Or save it till after we're done because we're running low on internet sometimes.
She'll just start laughing and it'll be hilarious.
Yeah, they are the most absurd customized cars ever built. And Lemons loves them because they're so ridiculous. But they ended up finishing second on the points, and they would have won probably. They were one checkpoint short, and they lost about 3 hours replacing a starter, or else they probably would have won. So
in frozen weather, which was all documented on the Fail Inc. and Steph the Pep Instagram.
Yeah. That was in Lexington. It was 1 degree.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a conglomeration of some of the most hardcore Lemons people possible. Donnie, Steph.
Tom Pyrek is the other guy. Yeah. Who races a minivan. Yeah. It's like the Lemons dream team of
terrible.
Of terrible.
I was where are you going with this?
Yeah. No, not like a dream team that's gonna hop in an E30 and crush a race. That's not going to happen with us.
No. The best one is what they kept doing to Steph's puffalumps when she wasn't watching, and the best one is when they tried to feed the rally duck chicken. And, of course, Steph gets on there and goes, "It's a rally chicken," and it didn't like it. It apparently did like the chicken.
Mm. Well, at one point, my co-driver was Jeff Stobbs, who was dressed as Napoleon the entire time because, of course... but he sent her a message that said he was going to skin her puffalumps and make her a coat out of it, and then she responded with an Instagram post threatening to cut him. So that was also
now doesn't your co-driver? I'm sorry, what was his name again?
Jeff Stobbs.
Jeff Stobbs. Doesn't Jeff realize that the judges in the judges' car don't have to?
Yeah, no, he's ridiculous. It's fine. He's won a rally. He won the first Retreat from Moscow rally in it was a Cadillac limo that was done up like the AE86 from Initial D.
Oh yeah.
Yes. 307, nice. Missing 2 gears in the 4-speed, and flexing every time they went around a corner, so the drive shaft was rubbing on the body. Yeah,
I remember seeing that going through the
tail of the dragon.
Through the tail of the dragon, it's not going to make it each time.
Yeah.
It's like those videos you see of those tanker ships when they have the corridor down the middle in a storm, and they point the camera down it, and you can watch the ship flex in every possible direction. That's pretty much it.
That was exactly it. Yeah. Like the U-joints had like a half-inch of play in them, so they were just bouncing. It was awesome. So yeah, that was my co-driver, but he's dressed as Napoleon the whole time. So
this sounds like the most wonderful, horrible time ever. I every time you're on, Eric, I just say the same thing. Damn it! I wish I could get just a little bit more vacation so that I could do a Lemons rally.
4 bangers.
Yeah, four bangers. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
sure I could get. It's like July 4th. Why don't you give the whole plug? Tell us where we can find out more about Lemons Rally.
You can go to 24hours.oflemons.com/rally, or you can just Google Lemons Rally. We got 4 more rallies this year. So there's the Florida Man Rally, Florida Man Poker Run, it's called, in April, which is after the CMP race, and it's a 4 or 5 day run down to Key West, one way. We have the 4 Bangers Banger Rally, where you go from Bangor, Michigan to Bangor, New York to Bangor, Maine to Bangor, Pennsylvania, and then back to Bangor, Michigan. That's July 4th week. We have the Hell on Wheels West Coast Rally, which is round trip out of Monterey. We're going to Reno, but we're sending people into San Francisco this year. Spoiler alert. So your listeners will know that we're sending people into a major metropolitan area for the first time. So that'll be interesting.
Yep.
And then
where there's no place to park and no place to sleep, it'll be great.
Exactly. And then from Reno down to Fresno via some kind of crazy mountain passes, and then back to San Luis Obispo, up to Santa Cruz, and back to Monterey. And then the last rally is in November. It's the World Tour of Texas, which is right after the race at MSR, and it's basically a bunch of place names in Texas that have international flavor, so to speak. So
like Paris,
like Paris, so to speak. Yeah.
So there's a lot of rally. Like, what's it like to plan all this stuff all year? Like this is a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think Steve and I go about it different ways. Steve's got the plan for the next 4. This was the first rally I planned, and I kind of set about it was odd, I guess. So I tried to do different things each day. The first day was like, here are the routes. Here are your choices for the routes. Take whichever one you want. Second day I was like, oh yeah, here's just a list of like 50 checkpoints. Good luck. Plan your route however you think makes the most sense for you. And then the third day was kind of, take the loop through the Red River Gorge and then make to Nashville for the museum. But really, when you're planning a day, you kind of just figure out where you want people to go, and you make the landmarks and checkpoints work around that. So in one case, that was me being like, go find this street sign that is on this obscure-ass windy road in the middle of Hocking Hills State Forest. And people went, found it. So, but yeah, you kind of lay everything out, and then you kind of work backwards from there, and it's interesting how it works. And then you gotta, fold in places to meet, places to greet, so on and so forth. Go for it, Mental.
So, and we've talked about this. We've had you on before. McDaniel is the, okay, on this checkpoint you have to skin and kill and skin your own grizzly bear using only a pocket knife. But you're not nearly as mean or sadistic. But how much have you embraced your inner sadist? And these people are my friends, but I still want them to be a little bit miserable. Where do you draw the line of, okay, I can't do that to them?
In this case, it was a lot of giving people the choice to be as masochistic as they'd like to be. So, that second day where I was like, here's the list of checkpoints. There was literally no way to do it within 24 hours. But if you wanted to go drive 19 hours, you could do that. And a couple people did. But, like the normal route everybody took was just the Ohio River in West Virginia, basically. So there's a scenic route. You take that. It's pretty. There's a river. There's cool bridges, so on and so forth. And it's like 9 hours instead of 16. Steve's a little more masochistic than me, and we'll just be like, no, the route's 17 hours. Good luck. So, and I think he's a little more lax with that than he was a couple of years ago. But, yeah.
Yeah, when we were doing the Babe Rally, we always thought that the challenges that happened along the route while you were driving were way better than the ones you had to stop and do. You know, like I would rather roll and search for something in my crap heap than have to like jump out, go do something, jump back in, jump out, do something, jump back in.
Well, that's also
clutch to work again or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. We weren't really sure any of our cars were going to start again, particularly mine.
But it wasn't that as much as like I would rather hunt for things while I drive. You know, it's a rally. It's not like a foot race to the whatever is, you know, like I enjoyed that last year that they had to throw the glider thing at the Kill Devil Hills, but that has nothing to do with cars or the rally.
But it was good for where you were. Like you had to do something when you're there that's plane related when you're there. So
the poker run's going to be interesting because it's going to be like you have to be there between noon and 1 to get your card, or else you don't get
your card.
So
it is going to be a traditional poker run. There is no
there's going to be, I think it's 4 days, 5 days. There's like a noon meetup every day, and then you get one at the beginning too. So I think you actually get 6 cards, and you can pick which of your 5 cards. You can discard one. So I think that's the plan.
Cool.
But there's that. Crap. I haven't even looked at the Banger Rally yet. You're
going to Maine at a great time, by the way.
That's Steve's, yeah.
Okay.
So he's got them all. He actually has them all planned out, and then we kind of work backwards and make changes where we need to from there. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're intense and they're fun, and they're an excuse to get away from your family for a week, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Or bring your family.
You know, we actually have a lot of people. There was a team it was a dad who brought his 3 kids. He took them out of school and took his Buick and painted it up as the Glenbrook North Truancy Department, which is a Ferris Bueller reference if you're not familiar.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was awesome. Yeah, and that was really great to see. Yeah, lots of people bring their kids on this stuff, which is super awesome. You know, it's a road trip.
You can't let your 10-year-old drive in a Lemons race, but you could take him to a Lemons rally.
Exactly. And it's cheaper, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Fantastic. Does anybody else have anything left over to ask Eric before we thank him?
I will say, folks, if we love having Eric on. We have him on all the time. So if there's questions you want to ask Eric and you're too embarrassed to actually email him at eric@24hoursoflemons.com, email us. We'll ask him because he'll be on another 4 or 5 times unless he wises up and comes to his senses and realizes he's wasting his time with us. But,
we still like having him either way, even if he is wasting
We love having him. Absolutely.
I guarantee anybody listening to this, if they want to ask me a question, it won't be the dumbest thing I've heard even that day from somebody else.
By sheer knowledge that you listen to this podcast, you probably know more than the average folk, and I haven't even had a chance to try and convince Eric he's from Detroit yet, so. All righty, we're going to move on. Eric, please stay because I am going to include you in the next segment. It is On the Spot from Jeff. This week's edition of I'm going to ask a question, and I'm going to go around the block, and everybody has to answer without giving much thought. But
what's our limit? Words or time? What's our limit this time?
There's nothing. Just answer with whatever it takes. Mental, just short. Okay. All right.
Brevity is full of wit.
Exactly. Since we mentioned, since we mentioned earlier in the day that the John Haynes, the founder of the Haynes Manual, passed away, I wanted to go around the block and say, what is the last or best repair you have ever had to make looking up in the Haynes Manual? Mental. What do you got? Oh, Chris is. Everybody's thinking.
I still use Haynes manuals for torque specs on like everything because I have Haynes manuals for every Honda ever made practically. So I definitely look up torque specs in there to this day. Now I have to get one for the Z and also for the new motor going in the Civic because I have no idea what that's going to be.
Mental. Last or best repair?
So I've been using an old school paper Haynes manual for the Dodge Colt, which I actually managed to get running using that Haynes manual following the fuel system. And I'd like to say that you could tell when Mr. Haynes was no longer in charge of the company, because now they've turned it into a subscription service and they want you to pay like $12 a year, which I get it. It's capitalism. You're designed to make money, but screw that, because I spent $8 and I bought a paper manual off of eBay, and I don't ever have to renew that subscription. And I've noticed that my local AutoZone still carries the old school paper ones. That it's an ever diminishing collection, but they're shrink wrapped in the original plastic of Haynes manuals, and there is something immensely satisfying about you're the one that puts that first grease stain or that antifreeze stain on that Haynes manual.
There's a lot of them at the local library, in case you haven't seen this. Chrissy, you got a repair that you did a Haynes manual with?
Not a Haynes, because if I need to look up torque spec, which is usually the, hey, Chrissy, go to the torque spec, and then I get in the Googles, and I don't have time to open said Haynes manual. So I have to say, not a Haynes.
She's not wrong.
I'm not wrong. It is the Rolls book of non-Haynes.
Oh, the Rolls Book of Knowledge.
Expanded version of the brake line. Which is his brake line? Where does it go?
It's like a fold out.
Open, and then open. It was the big map. Yes. So I'm going to say
worth of 65 colors.
And I think, right. And that was like the only page that was colored because it needed to be, because you couldn't really actually follow the little pipeline where things went. So I'm going to say best and probably last. I'm going to say for the Rolls. Yes, Eric.
Did the colors change when you cried on the page?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the best part about the Rolls, was the 5-bound volume shop manual set that came in the trunk. It took up an entire banker's box and was worth more than the rest of the car. But
was it leather bound? It had to be leather bound.
No, it was in
proletariat. Oh, yes.
And it was
proper Rolls-Royce 3-ring binders, though. Like, as much as I would have loved to sell it separate from the car, I couldn't bear to separate them because I knew whoever got it was going to need it. So
yeah.
I think some of it was actually, Menzel was joking, but was in like English speak. So like some of it was not incomplete actual, like, American English. It was
sense.
Not in American English. Yes.
I think the other favorite part of that was they gave you the design parameters to build a wooden cradle with which to hold the back end of the car up at the appropriate height and safety so that you could drop the motor out the front.
Yes.
To the bottom. But you had to
that.
create this specific wooden cradle, and they gave they gave you the plans to make the cradle to do this.
I just picture, for whatever reason, the Trojan Bunny from Monty Python, and I don't know why.
Well,
He
they
was
were
there.
the same color.
Yeah.
It's
We're
close.
drifting off the spots. Eric, what is the last or best thing you repaired with the Haynes manual?
The failed Project Regretmobile Dodge Magnum had so much Haynes manual repair done to it before I gave up on it. So much.
Well, I will answer my own question and say that the last thing that I actually had, or I should say the best thing, because it's not the last thing, definitely not the last thing, but the best thing I ever repaired with the Haynes manual was the camshaft belt replacement in the 93 Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive, tremendous interference motor that also had instructions on how to build a piece of thread awl into a thing that you put into the timing cover and screwed in, and it released the tensioner. And it was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in my life. Mental, go ahead.
Okay.
Don't forget, I watched the two of you and Chris, also pour through the Haynes manual on the Civic 2 years ago for the championship race on why the Civic wasn't running right. And it did get down to the point of, okay, Jeff, follow this blue wire.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I said, stop it. We're going to start again. Battery in.
Yep.
And it still didn't work because there was just somebody ate all of the wires.
Oh, we found it.
All you do is flip over the cord and then find. I mean, I was not even there. It doesn't really matter, but
and eventually it worked, and then
it all came off in your hand.
I will say that the photos I've shot at the racetrack of teams staring in befuddlement at Haynes manuals are some of my favorite levels.
This is sounding like a album that
I need to go. I need to make that gallery.
Yeah. That is a coffee book table right there. Just literally everyone's staring at a repair manual at a Lemons race, and all of the wet. You do it in order of seasons. Winter, spring, summer, and fall.
Summer, fall. Yes.
In honor of Mental, we should make a coffee table out of books. Coffee book table is what he said. So let's find all the books about coffee and make a table.
If you haven't already, check off Mental's trunk. Then you can do so.
Go ahead and do so now. Well, no one seems to have won bingo, and we've reached the end of the show.
I'm so close on 2.
I was just a tip away.
We've had a great obituary of John Haynes. So let's move on. Next show promo. Chrissy, I think you got it.
I do, and I'm hopeful that we all agreed to this show promo because I wrote it, and maybe we won't. So next week, I think we're going to discuss personalities, our personalities, and what we think they're good for and what we should be avoiding. So how do you capitalize on people's strengths in building and organizing your team? You have to find out what their actual strengths are. So this week, make sure why don't you take your own personality test and play along with us as we figure out how you fit into this and how we fit together.
And we recommend the Myers-Briggs. That's what we're going to be basing our.
I just figured,
Annie.
just check something.
Yeah,
okay,
Strengths Finder.
Exactly. What Twilight character are you? Yeah, totally. Yeah, it'll be fine.
Hufflepuff. The answer is Hufflepuff. Thank you for downloading us, and thank you, Eric Rood, for joining us.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. Forgot about that.
Happy birthday, Mental. Woo!
Woo! Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers, Everyone Ralliers, and Everyone How We Make 'Em Cat. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star freaking rating. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers. Or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram or the Twitter at Everyone Racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then keep the Centralia wheels down.